What's up guys, K-Plays here. It seems like every time life has me taking my sweet time to get a video out this year, Capcom drops some new Wilds info. I should really stop procrastinating. Or maybe keep procrastinating so we get more info? Nah, in any case though, we've got some new stuff to talk about, with probably more on the way very soon. The embargoes have lifted for game journalists to share their impressions from an early access event from the first 5 or so hours of Wilds this weekend. Those lucky mother... My questioning my career choices aside, they've given us a look into the souped up build after the open beta test, and a few sneak peeks at info from the full game. Camatrice, Congalala, Uthduna, and Lalabarina have gotten plenty of new gameplay footage shown off, which is a nice change of pace after mostly seeing Chatacabra, Doshiguma, Balahara, and Raydao most of the year. Don't think I was ready to see naked Uthduna though, but yeah, new monster gameplay. On the Hunter side, Sword and Shield, Switch Hex, and Lance users have been told to expect some sizable updates, and Insect Glaive users especially, they're pretty much celebrating in the streets right now after a confirmation that aerial gameplay is coming back in full. That's actually some pretty great news because it shows that Capcom is listening and delivering on the player feedback. There was actually an interview saying that they wanted to essentially encourage/force more grounded gameplay, so they took the bounce out. Players didn't like it, so they said forget what we wanted to do with our own game, give the fans what they want, let them fly. That is grade A peak game developer mindset right there. I'm really hoping that we get a second beta or a proper demo ASAP now, so we can get to see how much things have changed for performance and weapons. Most importantly though, to me at least, and all 15 or so other dedicated duders out there, we got more Hunting Horn gameplay thanks to the UCG official channel. And this time, it's actually from a player that seems like they have a good bit of experience using it, so we were able to skim some new info from their footage. I'll link the original video down below if you guys want to watch the full thing, especially if any of you have any Chinese language skills, so you can maybe pick out something that I might have missed. Let's go through these clips right now and see what there is to find out though, shall we? First thing first, we've finally gotten to see more song lists. 2 more to be exact. White, red, light blue on the iron bagpipes, and white, red, blue on the bone horn. Interesting that those horns seem to have swapped note colors compared to their world counterparts, but that's a pretty minor detail compared to what else we've learned here. Going through the list one by one, and figuring things out through awkward Google Lens translating, Red Light Blue has almost the same lineup of songs as before. Attack Up, Earplug Small, Muck Resistance, and Environmental Damage Negate. Scoutfly Power Up is gone, which is a surprise since we know that Scoutflies are returning in Wilds. It kinda makes sense though, seeing as more often than not we just use that song list to load up some easy songs for recital attacks. Echo Waves are taking up that role now, so we don't really need recital fodder songs anymore. This gives us a hint towards how song lists will compare to World and some of the games before it. Similar, but with slight tweaks to fit Wild's aim for Hunting Horn gameplay. Full disclosure here, since I'm looking a little sideways at some of these channels that have definitely seen the leaks but are just framing it as theorizing so they can go, whoa, I totally called it in a couple months. You know who you are and you ain't slick. I've seen them. I've seen every song list, but I will not be going over those here or in any other video until we see some more of it officially. I mean, we've got plenty of official info right here. Unfortunately for me over here, you're bursting at the seams wanting to keep the secrets in, but also really wanting to talk to you guys about it. I can now talk about some of the bigger things I've been wanting to share. The first of those, Wilds has new songs. And some returning additions from Rise too, one of which we finally got to briefly glimpse at the end of the Red Blue song list. Attack Up, Defense Up, Wind Resistance, and instead of Health Boost, Sonic Barrier. Yes, that Sonic Barrier, the song that totally cancels out any and all interruptions like a one-time use Rocksteady mantle. This is a very interesting inclusion because it matched up much better with Rise's song mechanics. Without the need to queue up note combos or dance the Hunting Horn Shuffle after a recital, you could throw out that short 3-second invulnerability effect as a quick reaction to attacks, roars, ground tremors, or wind pressure coming your way. Unfortunately, we don't actually see it activated in the video, so we're missing key details like how much, if any, damage it reduces, or what actually it can block now. But they did manage to show one important change. Whatever the max duration is, it's a lot more than 3 seconds now. You can see it lasts at least 15 at one point, so Capcom might have allowed us to compensate for needing to queue and play it by making it last until it gets used up now. Since it should be available fairly early on, with this being from the first 5 hours of low rank, you better believe this will be one of the first things I'll be testing. Another will be the 3 special songs that we finally gotten to see. Echo Wave Slicing, the Sonic Smash we got teased in the Hunting Horn trailer ages ago, and another Echo Bubble. The metal bagpipes had the cutting Echo Wave instead of the impact damage one on both the Hope and Bone Horns. You need a tail cut material for some early gear crafting? Don't bother swapping to some bladed weapon, that's boring. Nah, grab yourself some bagpipes instead and dude those tails off with pure sound. That is going to be so fun to do, and I can't wait to see all the hold up, what? Reactions from non-hunting horn players wondering how the hell the park break happened when they were nowhere near the tail with their sword. That varied utility is going to be great to have, especially once we get our hands on some elemental and status waves. Throwing in a song ability for doing nothing but pain on every song list was honestly a great move on Capcom's part. Speaking of doing nothing but pain though, that Sonic Smash move does damage. As in, possibly the highest total motion value on a move in Hunting Horn's arsenal since it was added to the series. No joke. Like, look at this. If it wasn't for the fact that we clearly see the Hunting Horn, you could probably be forgiven for thinking that a bow user just let loose with a Dragon Piercer with all those numbers. I was wondering how they balance out the other special performance horns by not having the ability to counter like offset melody horns, and here's the answer for at least one of them. You get to blast monsters with a huge piercing wave of sound. Ranged Hunting Horn meta confirmed? Probably not, but honestly the damage is so good and the song is so easy to queue up fast and frequently that if you wanted to meme as a musical gunner, the results might not be all that bad compared to other goofy strategies. Hunting Horn is no stranger to these, so hey, what's one more? And no, cornal horning does not count. Wide range, more like long range, am I right? That was bad. But yeah, expect some Hunting Horn from afar fun runs in the future. That aside, we didn't get to see it in the game, but the journalist did mention the third special performance. A strong AoE healing move. This is one of the moves I was probably the most curious to see because learning about it raised several questions. Hunting Horn already has a handful of healing songs. How exactly will this one differentiate itself from the normal ones? The most obvious guess that comes to mind is that it could simply heal a lot more. Like a max potion for free or like half your health bar just instantly back. But then, I gotta wonder something, because it wouldn't just be getting compared to other basic healing songs. It's also in direct competition with two very good attacks. To beat a counter and a damage nuke, the recovery is gonna have to be crazy and even come with some additional effects maybe, so it's not just a Mimi supportive option, unfortunately sharing a slot with more straightforward powerhouse moves. We kinda don't need another Beat of Resonance versus Earthshaker and Sonic Bloom like in Rise and Sunbreak. It is a big ask with all the variables to throw around, but I'd love it if every combination of songs and sound abilities for Hunting Horn could be as close to equally useful as possible. On to another one of these abilities though, those all-important Echo Bubbles. While it turns out that the metal bagpipes share the same movement speed and evasion boosting bubble that we saw on the Hope Horn in the beta, the Bone Horn is rocking a new one that boosts both defense and elemental resistances. Shame that we saw 3 horns in action but only one new bubble between them, but reveals are reveals. A bubble that beeps up most of your defensive stats might not seem like an advanced player or speedrunner's dream, but I'm thinking about it this way. Not everybody's going to be playing perfectly, so if you have an aura that makes you more tanky for free, just by standing in it, which you want to do anyway for the extra sound damage, you may as well enjoy that benefit unless you literally never get hit. And not many of us can make that claim consistently enough to not get use of a buff like this. And shoot, even those of us that could might still appreciate the damage reduction from the defensive bubble, if they eat hits on purpose to stay on the offensive with things like Offset Melody, Sonic Barrier, or the Rocksteady Mantle, if that comes back. Can't wait to see the ways this bubble will come in handy. Or all the ones that I totally don't know about already. Hey, what's that over there? Is that another hidden detail? It is. Now, this can't be just me, but did any of you realize that the bubbles look bigger in some of these clips? Specifically the ones where the hunter is wielding the bagpipes? Well, it could be our eyes playing tricks on us or some camera zoom trickery, but I'm almost certain that there's a size difference here. And I'm pretty sure I know what could be causing it too. The bagpipes have Horn Maestro built into them. Yes, we got the briefest of chances to take a glance at the Hunting Horn weapon tree and stats screen, and with that you can see some of the skills on weapons that the devs have been telling us about. The Hope Tree has Speed Sharpening, which you've already seen. The Bone has Stamina Thief, which could be a nice freebie point on a non-mandatory but still useful skill for Hunting Horn. And the Ore Tree has both Critical Draw and Horn Maestro. We have no clue if the skill will be simply boosting the duration of your song timers like in World, increasing sound damage and a performance attack speed like in Rise, or doing something entirely new for WoW's new abilities. It's shown to max out at 2 points again like it did in Iceborne, so whatever benefits it gives us, there are multiple levels of them. Increasing your bubble's range would be a great possible bonus, since covering a wider space means an easier time keeping fights in the area where you'll get extra buffs and damage. I wouldn't be surprised if the old make buffs last longer effect is included by default, but with its mix of World, Rise, and totally new aspects to Hunting Horn, who knows what the rest could be. Reduced cooldown on bubble charges, added bonuses when you activate songs or stand in bubbles, a power up for your recital attacks even? Again, this is going to be another day one question that I'm going to try to have answered ASAP. Lastly though, I want to bring attention back to that weapon tree screen. It's quick, and most are showing question marks because the monster or materials they had come from haven't been found by this player yet, but this is a small slice of the horns we'll be able to collect in just a couple months. Early on in progression, it already seems like we'll have a decent selection to work with too. The 3 different raw options we've seen here with attack up, 3 mystery elemental choices, although I think we might be able to guess that the water one at the very least is Balahara, because from a past trailer we know it has a horn. And my favorite, some status horns. A blast line so soon is a surprise, especially since we don't really have any blast monsters revealed to us so far as I've seen. I've got no guesses for that one. The paralysis line, though, translates to the same name as the classic bug materials horn. I was really hoping for a Lalabarina horn, but unless we're getting 2 earlier para horns, it's looking like that might be out. Sad, but on the plus side, Class Royale could finally end up getting some better stats and songs this time around. I always disliked how such a cool weapon design kept getting smacked with bad songs, low attack, and no attack up. But now that at least that latter problem at the very least has been addressed, we could see a change. I mean, worst case scenario, I get one of my favorite older designs from when we unlock layered weapons. But honestly, Capcom's been doing Hunting Horn just right so far, so I think I'm going to stay tentatively optimistic about our future choice balancing for now. With all that covered though, that's all she wrote for the new Hunting Horn info. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we end up getting an announcement for Beta 2 very soon, or even better, a demo with unlimited access to play. Please, Capcom. We might not be able to get our hands on any of the full game content I just went over, but I'm sure we're all dying to see the work that Capcom has done on the new build since taking all of our feedback into consideration. They said they'd be publishing the full list of fixes and changes sometime soon, which would be nice and all, but I know for a fact that I'm not just speaking for myself when I say that we want to see how it all works in action. Ourselves, controllers in hand, ready to test out all the new stuff. Whatever ends up coming though, I feel like we're due for something pretty soon. One news source might have accidentally let it slip that there's a new trailer around the corner, because they listed frozen tundras and ice-breathing dragons as one of the many things we've seen, but I sure as hell haven't seen either of those things yet. If you ask me, December's a great time for an ice locale reveal, and the Game Awards are only a week away. I think that timing lines up perfectly, don't you? In the meantime, I'll be on the lookout for any new info to bring you guys, and I also have an intro to the Wilds Hunting Horn mini guide coming to you guys soon. Like, very soon, if not today, tomorrow, because I was working on it when all this info dropped. Until then, though, this has been another K-Plays, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.